Brian Powell of I Run Far here with Alex Varner before the 2016 IAU Trail World Champs. How are you, Alex?
Good, Brian. How are you?
All right. What have you done for me lately?
Not a lot. I ran a 4-mile cross-country race.
How'd that go?
It was awesome. I ran a lot better than I thought I would. And I participated in Headlands 50K.
Yeah.
That was late August, like the last weekend in August, I think.
Was it the 50K?
The Trail National Champions. Yeah.
How'd that go?
It went pretty well. I think for considering I spent all of July training for a road mile, and then had basically 4 weeks of build up for Headlands with no kind of anything longer than 3-minute intervals. I was pretty happy with how it went.
So what was the reason for sort of heading away from the ultra stuff this year?
After quad last year, I ran what was it, Club Cross Country Nationals, which were in SF, and then took some time off. Went on a trip for Christmas for about a week, and was noticing some pain in my right hip. And I didn't really think much of it because it's like you take time off, you don't expect things to get worse, you expect them to get better. And so I didn't think much of it. And then come January when I started up running again, like after the first week, I probably hopped back in too fast. But I felt healthy and felt okay. And I had some major pain, like kind of nondescript in my groin, upper quad. And I couldn't figure out what it was. And it was like 3 or 4 months of like I could run on it and I could manage it, but I took a couple weeks off like 2 times to try to get it better, and it just never got any better. And finally, after the Boston Marathon in April, I saw like I think my third PT, and she figured out like within 5 minutes of putting me on the treadmill, was like, "Oh, your right SI joint's an inch lower than your left. Your right, glute isn't firing, so that's what's causing your hip to drop, which puts on the stress on your right tibia, which pulls it up the inside." And she's like, "And it moves around, and it's not nondescript." I was like, "Yes." And so 6 weeks later, after like 6 days a week of hip exercises, I was finally running pain-free at Dipsy.
Yeah.
But that was the reason I dropped out at halfway at Sonoma. That was the reason that, Boston, I just ran it because you signed up in October or September, or whenever it is. And then I really wanted to kind of be conscientious about building back up and jumping and getting back in ultra, so I kind of waited through the summer for Headlands.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So when did you start to get on a regular routine, training schedule?
The regular training schedule probably started like 2 or 3 weeks before Dipsy in June. Or late May, and that was kind of when I could feel the issue resolving and getting better. But as a result, it was like a couple weeks of training for Dipsy that didn't go as planned. Then it was kind of a slow build towards this road mile that I raced in a local our USATF association. And I hadn't done that in a long time, so I wanted to get back. And I was like, well, I don't have any stamina anyways. I might as well run some track intervals here and see where it goes. And then we shifted focus to. I found out I was on the team kind of July for this race, and so focused on this. And
so how did you choose that this was your focus race for summer?
I wanted to get on this team. I wanted to visit a new country. I wanted a little bit of redemption after Annecy.
Yeah.
That did not go as well as I'd hoped. Another chance to run for your country is always an extra added incentive.
Like it kind of seemed that way because you had a rough race. There.
Yeah.
But then I don't know. We were 2/3 of the way through the race, and
it was like
I sort of like, toward the end there. It was just like when you found out like you're third man.
Yeah. And it was nice to be able to dig in and kind of grind it out to the finish. I hadn't had kind of an experience like that. In an ultra before, where it was like, okay, this is greater than me. Like, David and Alex are up there. Tim unfortunately had to drop. Yassine is out there too. Like, we gotta get this done as best we can. And it ended up paying off. I mean, not because of me, but like the way the team ran well, we got a silver medal, and that was fantastic.
Yeah.
That was a really nice surprise.
So this year you're the top returning member of the team.
The only returning member.
That's another way to put it. And it's kind of you're down at least one team member?
Yeah, Ryan Baca did drop out, unfortunately, with an injury like 2 weeks ago.
No, I was just talking to Luis Alberto Hernando from the Spanish team, and they kind of all run it as an individual race with a team aspect.
Yeah.
Does the U.S. team discuss it all? Because there can be strategy if one wants to have that.
Yeah.
What's the like for you guys?
I think we haven't talked about it yet.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's. I don't know how. I've never raced against or with Jared or Tyler. Mario I've raced a couple of times, but not a lot. So I think we have to talk about it and figure out how we want to attack it, and if we feel as though we want to go after it in kind of a team aspect, or if it's kind of okay, you're running for Team USA, just do your best in your own way.
Yeah, but you could also have it where somebody is sort of like a safety third runner.
Yeah,
or like it's how much do each person risk.
Yeah,
you have like go for the absolute,
if all four guys go all
sort of
out
15 minutes under what your predicted best would be, and maybe 1 out of 3 would get that. And you don't have a team.
Yeah,
like if the other 2 blow up.
So, so I think we'll figure that out in the next couple of days here.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what we decide, if anything.
Yeah. Now this is also probably your last ultra for a little while.
Yes.
Why is that?
Yeah. We have a kid due in February. Got married about a month ago. We did the whole. She's Canadian, so we have to go through the immigration process. But yeah, we have a child due on technically Valentine's Day, but I feel like the doctor's like, oh, you got, this is when we think, it started, and so, Valentine's Day.
Ballpark.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. But yeah, as a result, I'm kind of, going to step back a little bit and make that a priority. I think it's probably in the best interest of mine and my wife and our family. So, we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm going to keep running, obviously.
Yeah.
And this isn't, but it's probably more of like a sabbatical or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
But,
switching priorities for a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And, we'll see where that takes us.
Does that give any more meaning to this race then?
A bit. I mean, it's, it definitely, the child arriving puts things in perspective. So it's like, oh, I'm here, I'm doing this great race. You're like, yeah, and then in 3 months, I'll be a parent for the rest of my life.
There's that.
So it's kind of, there is the all right, I want to do well here and go out on a good note for a bit, but there's always the future.
Does that even take stress off this race?
Yeah,
almost?
Exactly. Like you see enough guys who are running well at 35, 40, 45, and so, I'm still a decade from there, and I'm not worried about longevity. If anything, it'll help prolong it by taking some time off.
Do you feel pretty fit going into this one?
I think so. Yeah, I had some good, couple of good workouts after Headlands. Had 2 weeks kind of a break for our honeymoon, but as Coop and I talked about it, and I was able to run a couple of semi workouts, and we were there, but we were in Maui. It was just so hot and humid that you get out and you try to run a pace that in San Francisco would be fairly pedestrian, and 10 minutes in, you're like, I want to crawl into a shower and crawl into the ocean. And
so maybe you're rested.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was 4 weeks ago. So I've had 3 weeks of good, hard training since then. The workouts have gone well. I feel good. But again, it all comes down to what happens on Saturday.
Nice. Well, best of luck out there.
Thank
Have
you.
fun.
Appreciate it.
Enjoy Portugal.
Absolutely.